Hello and welcome back to Creepy Cutie Crafty. Welcome back to yet another crafting video with me, Heather. Hi guys, how you doing this week? So yes, I am back to working on my Hardanger pattern around the edge of this, the pattern that I've been working on over the last few weeks. Feels a bit longer than that, but I think it's starting to come together. So these are sort of in the edges. The sharp-eyed amongst you will notice that I'm doing this on my lap stand rather than on the frame holder, because that has some issues with the frame holder. So for the slate frame, so I'm going to see if I can work that out and come back and do that next week, hopefully. But yeah, I'm back in my little hoop rather than a the slate frame, but we'll see how we go. So yeah, it's a lovely hot day here now. Well, I'll say lovely, it's a hot day. I don't really like hot days. I'm not really built for hot days. So we've got the windows open, so of course that means we've got people having very loud conversations in the street outside, and also people coming down the street playing fairly loud music in their cars. So if I pause for a moment, that'll be why, because I want to let them have their lives and get on with their lives, but also don't really want to have me in the video. Thank you very much. But yep, it's a lovely day, and it's been a heat wave. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I think that's correct. I've done this wrong. I've completely and utterly done this wrong. I have completely messed up. This is not a good start, Heather. Let me just undo everything I've just done. In fact, the easiest way of doing that would be to do this, because the bits I marked in black are the bits that are supposed to be holes, and I've just stitched over one of the holes. So that was clever. So let's just undo all of that and try that again. Like I say, it's very hot here, so my brain has decided not to work particularly well. So yeah, I'm blaming the heat. I've been working on this for quite a long time now, as I say, so I'm making a few little bits and pieces of mistake, but you know, that's just how it goes. And if we weren't making mistakes, we wouldn't be human, would we? So I'm going to start by coming in there again, and then I'm going to start here, yes, here. So it's got to go up that away, so to there. So we've got the hole here, we've got the hole here, and then we're going to work around the centre, and then we're going to do another large one. So if you haven't seen this already, I'll sort of scooch it around so you can see. I've been working on the bits and pieces here. I'll put a picture up on the screen actually, because I've done a bit of a photo of it, but also I've started to do the edges. So you can't really see it on this, but there's little white stitches holding the hem down so it doesn't get all frayed, because Hardanger fabric wants to fray very easily. And around one edge I've started to do some basic buttonhole slash blanket stitch, just to start that off. But my problem is that this is the only white number 8 pearly that I've got left, so I'm going to be trying to get hold of some so I can actually get on with this for the next video, but we'll see how we go. But let's see if I can get this straight. Now again, you can also tell that I haven't pulled this very tight. I've got the edge exposed there a little bit, and I'm being careful because I don't want to crush the bits I've already done. So just taking my time and being careful. I should have wrapped it in fabric maybe, or done something of that nature, but I didn't. So there we go. I'm still very much a noob to this, and I'm hoping to learn a bit more about how to prep fabrics like this and see how we go. My gosh, even the helicopters are joining in today. My gosh, they're loud. We live quite close to the M5 and M6, two of the biggest motorways in the country, and we live sort of in the crux where they meet. So quite often we have helicopters going over just making sure that people aren't doing anything naughty on the motorways, and making sure that everybody's driving safely. Right, let me have a look at this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, that is the right space. Because of the empty area, the areas that I've marked with the squares, they all look a bit squiffy, but it's not helping that I'm looking at this angle anyway, is it? So, but yep. And I'm doing the first half of my video on the Thursday, and I'll be doing the second half of my video on the Friday, and see how we go. And squinks might be invading at some point soon as well, so even more noise. It's good that people have, you know, time out though, isn't it? It's healthy to be out in the sunshine, as long as you're, you know, protected and you haven't, you know, not going to get yourself sunburned or anything. But yes, that's what I'm saying anyway. And I'm going to come back in on that one there, I believe. Yes, that's the one. And let's have a look. So got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Is that the right one? 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yep, that's the right one. At least I hope so. I'm trying to be a bit more careful on this side because I want to see if I can get it a bit more accurate. As I'm going on, I'm learning more and more about the processes of measuring and cutting and shaping and getting it all nice and even. But you know, it's this is a finished piece, but it's also me learning as I go, same as usual. So yeah. So yeah, anyway, how are you guys all doing? Are you having a good week? Are you getting some good crafting done? This was my week off, that I'd booked off my job so that I could catch up on my stitching. But as always, things have gone slightly awry. So Squinks has been, when I booked the week off, I didn't realise it was half term. And then suddenly it's half term, and I've got half term at the same time that I've got my week off, and it was also bank holiday Monday on the Monday, so I also didn't know that because I didn't check the calendar because I'm not clever like that, and of course that now means that Squinkers has got the week off, so they would like to be entertained by various things, so that's a bit of time taken out. And then I've got time out with my husband as well. Not that I'm objecting to that, any of that, but right, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it needs to go over one more, and that'll be 5. Or do I go from there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So yeah, I'm going to go from there. There we go. And that will go, oopsie daisy, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, back into there, and that should make it look nice. But yeah, so I was intending to have this week as a catch-up week, but now it's a go out with Squinks and go out with the family and have days out and do some shopping and have some fun in other ways than stitching. So you know, again, not complaining. It's just one of those things I should have checked before, but yeah, it's just means that I have caught up, but just not quite as far as I'd hoped to. So yeah, I've got the bulk of this whitework piece done, and I've done some more on my Sashiko piece, but I could have got a bit further if I'd have booked the correct week, but such is life. Definitely not objecting to having more time with the family though, because yeah, it's nice to be able to go out and have fun together. And of course we're also working this week to plan what we're going to be doing when we go to London. So me and Squinks are all booked up, all ready to go, and hopefully it's going to be a good week. Oh, it definitely should be a good week, and you know, I think they're going to be enjoying their wind down after doing their exams. Yes, it's going to be due, and they're going to have a well-earned rest and a well-earned wander around London and have a look at things in museums, which is, you know, for me, that's living the dream. But I think Squinks wants to go and find cute stuff to buy in the shops as well. So that's what they're into, aren't they? So, but there we go. Anyway, so they're ready. I've learned with this one, if you try to do this with a ruler, you're going to come a cropper, because although these stitches are nice and straight, there are some areas where they're a little bit wibbly. So if you try to measure it just from the actual from a ruler, like I say, you're going to wind up coming a cropper, because it doesn't sit quite as you'd expect it to sit. But yes, and again, that's one of the things I've learned. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. I think that was a bit far forward, so let me just do a double count. 1, 2, 3, 4, and hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. No, that's correct. Let's have a look. So it's there. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Oh gosh, I'm not doing very well here. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There we go. It's a bit better. And same as before, I'm planning on having these little gaps here, the next ones, be eyelets like the ones I made at the start of this project. But yes, we shall see how that goes. But yeah, one thing I wanted to just quickly mention to you, I've mentioned it a few times. I used to be part of a gift team, so it's like a team of creative folks doing silly tasks for a competition all around the world, and every so often we do a Secret Santa. Now, why am I talking about Secret Santas in May, on one of the hottest days of the years? Well, it's because we've actually finally managed to have our Secret Santa group opening. Every year we try to get it so that we can open it either just before or just after Christmas, and every year everyone's so busy with so many things that we get put back further and further. So we've literally last Saturday just got our Secret Santas open, and everybody got their lovely things and bits and pieces. And we always try to have like a handmade element to it, so something that we've made, something that we've produced, and also lots of snacks and sweets and things like that. So I sent off some Galaxy chocolate over to America, which over there they really love it, which is always fun. Galaxy was always my favourite chocolate anyway. I do prefer Galaxy over Cadbury's, which is, you know, personal taste and all that. Right then, where are we? We are there. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There we go. But yeah, so I sent mine off, and I made like a little book bag for it, and I also sent off some Galaxy chocolate, and I sent off some snacks and bits and pieces. But then in return, one of the Heathers, who's funnily enough named Mary, not Heather, she was the one who sent me my parcel. So they know that I do a lot of sewing and lots of bits and pieces, and they sent me a parcel with loads and loads of scraps. So just bear with me 1 second. I'll see if I can get hold of it for you. Just put this over here. But when I say a lot of fabric, I mean a lot of fabric. So I'm having to move this out of the way. You can see all of these lovely textured and coloured, and some of these are really nice and silky, and some of them are sort of sparkly. There's some bits of trim in there. I haven't been all through it yet, but I really want to. Some velvet in there. We had a Zoom call, and during the Zoom call, after I'd got my gift, I was opening the bag and having a quick sneak peek at things, and I got some very disapproving looks because I was having a sneak peek at things. But I really do love this, and this is going to be very good when it comes to doing my textured, sort of freehand, free-flowing style. They also sent me some other bits and pieces in my favourite colours. I think there's a bit of linen, no, that's cotton there, and some these, and they also sent me some blues as well. I love that little pattern there. So I've got like a little sort of tiny flowers, and some Peter Rabbit fabrics there, and also this one from Knitwits, craftystitches.com, and they have like sort of moonshine through clouds, that's what I'm saying, or like lightning and things like that. But I think it looks really nice. They also sent me a few other bits and pieces. They also got me this little duck. It says duck it, that's right, duck it. Nothing naughty, absolutely, you know, all above board. And it's from this company called Sashiko. And yeah, so I've got all sorts of fun things to play with, and a lot more fabric scraps to bring to my next project. I was thinking about what scraps I would be able to use, but now I know I've got that, I've got more to work with, so that'll be fun. Yeah, it's something that's sort of not fast approaching, but something that's approaching on the horizon, and I want to make sure that I've got some ideas ready for it. But we'll see how we go when we get there. Let me just raise this up slightly, just so you can see it a little bit better. There we go. This lap stand, this lap holder, isn't particularly strong, so I'm having to be a bit careful about putting on it too much and supporting it with my other hand. But yeah, with the bag of scraps, I'm desperate to go through it, but I'm going to wait until I start my next project so that I can go through it with you on camera. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. No, wait a minute. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Just check that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yep, that's fine. I'm trying to do these kloster blocks. These white things are called kloster blocks, and they hold the stitches back when you snip the stitches, and they are 5 by 5 or 5ish by 5ish. I'm not going to be totally perfect with them because I can't at the moment. I'm just trying it out and seeing how it goes. Ooh, is that an airplane coming through, or is it a storm? I think that's an airplane. Yep. All the noises because, as I say, it is burning hot here at the moment, and that means, of course, that I've got to have the windows open. Otherwise, I will melt it into a small puddle of heather. But yeah, I definitely, it's one of those funny things. I know that there are other parts of the world that are hotter. I'm very aware of that. I'm aware that Florida is hotter and more humid. I'm aware of that too. But over there, you've got aircon. We don't have aircon, and I wouldn't know how to fit aircon if I could afford it. But I mean, it's quite funny because we've got all these videos and shorts and things on YouTube and on Facebook and places like that, and they're all going, well, you know, it's hotter in XYZ, but in the UK there's no escape from it. You can't go into your house and get your aircon on, but you know, that's just how it is. Right, so I'm going to bring this one up to here. I'm trying to make it so that all of the corners are joined, just so it links together a bit more tidily. I did fluff up my markings on this side, so that's why I got confused earlier. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, just into there. And yeah, I'll be doing this, a lot more of this off screen. And yeah, another thing about being hot weather is that there are a lot more flies, and there's one big one who keeps on going past and wants to be on camera. Not unless you're a crafty fly. I'm sorry, mate, can't be on camera. He's objecting. I think he's stormed off out the window now. But yes, it's it is interesting because I mean I've been to other hot countries. I've been to like Egypt, and I've been to America as well. Not necessarily the hotter part of America, but I have been to America on a hot day, and it does hit different. I mean, when I went to America and it was a hot day, I was worried that I'd flake out, and I was worried that I would be over hot, but I actually coped with it quite well. And this was when we were staying in a house that didn't actually have aircon. It had like aircon upstairs, but in the rest of the house it was you know, as hot as, you know, as hot as it was outside. So I was as I say, I was expecting to be all melty, but I wasn't. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, that's it. I'm double checking every time just to make sure that I got it right, and it seems so far that I have got it right. The other thing is I'm also keeping my other hand underneath, so whilst this one's going on the top, this one's underneath, and I'm checking as I go around that none of the stitches have bubbled up, because one of the things I don't check very carefully is whether or not there's knots on the back. On the front, obviously, I catch them because I can see them, but on the back, I don't always catch them. So I'm making sure to check my stitches as they go through, just by feel, and make sure that they're not getting themselves all tangled up. But yes. But yeah, I mean, this is Hardanger fabric, so it's designed specifically for Hardanger, but the stitches, they're both very stiff, and they're very hold on, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, so I need to do one more. It's very stiff and it's very floppy, so if you get it slightly wrong and you pull these a bit too tight, you can see that the spaces there are a bit wider than they should be because it's putting on it. So if you see, if I pull too tight, it pulls it down, but that's good if I'm doing threads with pulled elements. Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Oops, easy. Oops. Right, so 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Just double check that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and is that right? Let me have a look. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So I think I need to go 1 over. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, that's right. There we go. I'm getting there slowly, but I am getting there. There we are. And I'm not wearing my reading glasses again because I forgot. One of these days I'll remember. I'm still getting used to them. Sometimes they do still trigger headaches and things, which isn't ideal. The idea with them is that they're supposed to stop headaches, but they are quite powerful when I'm doing close-up work, or if I'm doing reading, funny enough, which is what, you know, most reading glasses are for. I really should wear them more because I can feel the strain on my eyes as I'm working, but at the same time I like to be able to look away from the stitching surface from time to time, which is most definitely the healthier thing to do. But there you go. Anyway, this is looking quite neat so far. I'm looking forward to seeing how this is going to look when it's all undone. Well, all done, not undone, sorry. Because undoing it would be kind of a waste, wouldn't it? Right, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. to there. Let's just check. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Yep, there we go. That is the correct one. I'm getting better at this. There we go. And then I've got the nerve-wracking thing of snipping the stitches out of the way, which is always the scariest thing. Well, for me it is anyway. And I've got some ideas about what I want to do from the edge. I mean, I've started doing these blanket stitches. It's either blanket stitch or buttonhole stitch. I can't remember. I think it's actually buttonhole stitch. But I'm doing them around the edge. I need some more white before I can really get any much further with that one. But I've also got some bits and pieces I want to do around the edge, because you can do like little loops and things around the edge that I want to do. That's going to be a lot of work, and I think I will be starting that next week once I'm done with everything else. But we shall see. We always see, don't we? At least I always do. There we go. Well, I see as well as my non-reading glasses will let me see, obviously. Anyway, so let me see if we can get that through there. I'm very close to the end of my half hour. And as I say, I'm going to be returning to my... Is that too far forward? May just be... No, I think that's fine. And on to the next one. There we go. And that comes in there. Just going to do another stitch there because that one's a bit gappy. And then 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5 and a long 1. Let's make sure that's correct. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep, that's fine. I think I might even just done myself enough thread as well, which is kind of mad. Normally I either do myself far too much or far too little. But yes. But yeah. So I'm looking forward to taking doing the sort of the snipped bits out of here. But I'm going to be seeing about doing some other kinds of decorations inside these, because I had a go at that in the main part in the center, but I didn't go as far with it as I wanted to. But I will have a go with it and see what I can do. See if I can do like fan shapes and things like that. But yes, it's all work, but it's work that I enjoy. I'm looking forward to seeing how it turns out. And again, I went over a little bit too far, so I will do an extra stitch. I am sort of keeping it in row using the stitches of the fabric on the back, the Hardanger fabric, the weave. But I'm also stitching between the dots as well, so that I can be sure to catch the fabric more effectively. Right, so that goes to there, and that will double up onto there. Oopsie daisy. Oh, that's a bit squingled. I'll take that one back and put it through more carefully. There we go. Is it still squingled? No, it's not squingled. Squingled is now officially a word in my vocabulary, so there we go. So hold on. 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So it's got to be under there. Took me a while to work out how to make this fit, so I was doing it from the these ones here. So I did like a diagonal line down. I ironed off all the lines as you saw in the photo earlier, because this is all done with heat erasable pen. But I then started, or not from scratch, but I started the stitching from the I started the pattern from these stitches again, so that I could make sure that it was all in line with the stitching, not necessarily in line with the fabric, because it is very tempting to go, okay, well I can draw a straight line using a ruler, which, yes, I can definitely draw a straight line using a ruler, but the fabric doesn't necessarily follow the same pattern as it's supposed to. So I'm just going to come in here and do another extra sticky stitch there, and then I'm going to tie that off at the back after I've finished this this half hour. I will do the cutting of that bit off screen, and then share pictures at the end of the video, but yeah, keep an eye out for that one, and I'll start on the next layer again. I'm going to be sticking to white thread in this case. I'm not going to use the variegated thread this time, just because I want to keep this as white work, and I'm going to have to do one of these in each of the corners, and then I'm going to have to fill out this area here, and I don't know what I'm going to fill it out with, but we shall see. Anyway, I will be back in a bit to do my Sashiko, so I'll see you in a bit. Bye bye. So, welcome back. Yep, it's the next day, and it's a bit cooler today, so I've got my my blanket on my knees, but I'm continuing with my little Sashiko project here. So I've managed to finish the two Totoros off, except for the face. I like this one. He looks either scared or just a little bit sort of sweet, sort of creepy type thing. I showed a picture of that to a few of my friends, and they were like, I can't work out if that's sweet or creepy, but it can be both, I think. But I'm just going to try and start doing the face on this one here, on the larger one. So this is going to be white with black pupils, same as I've got there, and the little nose. Now, I've done this side using the chalk pencil there. Well, it's not a chalk pencil, the fabric marking pencil, but you can see it just broke all the way through. This is water soluble pencil, and I don't know why they're bothering calling it water soluble, because by the time you get to that point, it's all rubbed off. Because I mean, I did the face on this one with the pencil, and it's all gone. And so I had to redraw the entire thing. So I've marked everything out on this with the water soluble pencil. As I say, this is the lead on it broke, so I was actually just holding the lead and drawing that way. I've got a pen on order, so hopefully that'll be a bit better, but I'm not very keen on this one. I've got another one over there that once this one disappears, I'm going to try using that one and see if it's just this one was dropped or thrown or whatever. But at the moment, I don't really recommend these ones. It's the Clover water soluble white pencil, but I'm going to make a start on the eyes here now. As I say, I've done this with the pencil, and it's rubbing off as I'm doing it, so I'm probably going to have to redo the marks anyway, but my plan is to do lines like this going all the way up to the top, and then at the top, away from the little characters, I'm going to turn them into a pattern. So down the bottom it's going to look more like rain, and at the top it'll look more like, well, it'll turn into a pattern. But I'm trying to be very careful not to touch anywhere that I've marked the lines on, because I know that if I move it at all, it's just going to lose the marks I've made, which is slightly frustrating. I've actually ordered myself a water-soluble Clover pen now, so hopefully that'll work a bit better, but we shall see. I've been looking for years for a decent white marker. I know there's friction markers that you can get that are coloured white, but I've not found any that have really sort of worked well for me yet. But you know, maybe I'm just looking in the wrong places, I don't know. I will find that out and I'll keep exploring, and if I find one that works well, I'll let you know. I used one that was recommended to me by an online friend, another YouTuber friend. That was the Clover water soluble pen, and I've ordered one of those. It should be here probably sometime in the next week or two, and we'll see how that works, because at the moment I've got this pencil, and the pencil says it's water soluble, but it's never actually got to the point of me needing to wash it off because it doesn't last long enough. So years. What I'm going to do is mark out the general sort of shape of these eyes, and then I'm going to come back and do the nose and then thicken them out, because then that means that I'm not worrying too much about keeping the pencil, because then it can rub off and I can still see vaguely where the marks were, where the eye should be. But yes, and as we're going, I'm just pulling this out so it's not putting it too tight. There we go. It looks a bit owlish at the start, but it'll make more sense once it's filled in. And of course I've got to add the nose as well. Oops, that's got one end over there. So I'm going to go over here to the nose and see how we go. And then hopefully I'll have time to make a start on the lines on the background as well. I'm starting to, well, we're starting to get our bits and pieces together for our trip to London, and I'm trying to work out whether or not I should take my sewing with me. I want to, but sometimes Squinks gets annoyed if I'm sewing whilst they want to do something or talk to me or things like that. I mean, obviously when they talk to me I put my sewing down, but they still get annoyed when I'm picking back up afterwards. It's one of those funny things, isn't it? It's like unless you can give me your undivided attention. I am, but at the same time I've got my own things to do, sweet. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to the trip. We've got a few places to go to. Squinks has also asked if we can go to the Imperial War Museum. Their current sort of hyper-focus theme is the Cold War and Russia. So, you know, it's going to be interesting to see what they make of that. Whew. I think I'm just going to do the outline for this nose. I don't think I'm going to do anything over and above that, because I don't think it needs it. This is the very last piece of the Sashiko thread that I had. Putting my leather thimble on. I'll try to use my palm thimble for the long lines, but for this one I'm using my leather thimble because, again, I'm pushing through this fabric, this denim, which is quite thick. So yeah, no, their current hyperfocus, Squinks' current hyperfocus is on the Cold War and things. So they've asked if they can go to the Imperial War Museum, and fortunately the hotel that we've booked, it's just like a budget hotel type thing, because, you know, we can't afford much, but it's very close to some of those bits and pieces, so it's going to be interesting to see how that works out. It's going to be interesting. I'm very much looking forward to showing them some of my favourite museums as well, but we're going to see how we go. We've got an itinerary, a sort of very vague itinerary of places that we want to go to. We're open to, you know, so yes, we're open to possibilities as well. So if there's anything over and above that we want to go to, we're going to sort of see what we can fit in. I'm just very aware that my health issues might make me tired, but at the same time I want to make the most of everything we can do whilst we're there, because it's fun and it's time to have a good wander and a good explore and go and see all these amazing things that are out there. And so they've asked to go to the Imperial War Museum, which is a fascinating place, but there are some bits and pieces in there that I actually want to see myself. So ages ago, years and years ago, when I was doing my my history of art degree, one of the things we were looking at was heritage, and how heritage works, because it's a very convoluted subject. You think it'd be quite simple, you know, this is heritage, this isn't, but no, there's things that are heritage to one person that aren't to another, and it's a fascinating thing. And one of the things that we had a look at the time was things like the cenotaph, the memorial that was set up in London, which was set up within a few days of the end of World War, well, in the end of World War One, I believe, and the original one was made with bits of wood and some plaster, which was then, you know, sort of turned into a permanent memorial later on. But the original plaster memorial, the original plaster thing is displayed in the Imperial War Museum. So it's going to be interesting to show them that, because they're doing about sort of the memorials of the end of the war and the Second World War and things, because this is one of the things they've been discovering, that they've been sort of working on with their school for their history GCSE. But then they're also looking at things like the propaganda and the art and the art of propaganda and the different propagandas that are used by Russia and by the USSR, wasn't it, at the time, and by America and by other countries. And they're really interested in how that's being represented in art and in what people are sort of saying about each other and how it works. So I think, you know, having a look at the Imperial War Museum and having a look at some of the propaganda efforts by both sides, well, by all the sides at the time, wasn't it? It's going to be interesting, but we shall see what happens with that. They're much more interested in the art side of things, I think, but I think there's an awful lot of history in there that is going to be fascinating too. But like I say, with the heritage thing, the idea was that we had this, because back at the end of the First World War, people was like, oh, we should have, I believe it's called a catafalque. It's the French version of like the empty tomb, or the tomb of the unknown soldier. And that was set up as a memorial to victims of all the wars and things. And it's something that was being discussed about whether or not we should have a catafalque here. But they instead decided to go with the cenotaph, which I think it is an empty tomb, or it's supposed to sort of represent an empty tomb. So that it's, the people who died and, were lost during the war, but also the people who came home. But it's got on the side of it written, just a very simple phrase of "our glorious dead." And again, a lot of people at the time were like, oh, but can't we have this piece of poetry? Can't we have this Bible verse? Can't we have, which... No, I think it's sort of shortened to the point, but a lot of people were also saying, what's so glorious about dying in a war? Especially the First World War, which everybody knows was an absolute mess of a war. So, yeah. It's an interesting one, isn't it? It's like gone are these ideas of bravado and machismo in war. It's now just the war machine, and how people have passed away in the war is not necessarily glorious and never really great for for the betterment of the world, I suppose you'd call it. But it's not true, and it's getting less true over time. But I'm going to get off that subject. But so they have the original plaster version of the cenotaph, and then I found out that actually this was this was exported. This idea of the cenotaph was exported and copied and, you know, redone all over the world, but not by the choice of the people in those other parts of the world. It was copied in a lot of the British colonies, so they all had their own version of the cenotaph, but an awful lot of them have later disposed of those because for them it was like, well, we didn't have any choice in fighting in this war, you just threw us into it with no choice. And they've either moved or destroyed or minimised these memorials, or they've replaced them with their own memorials, which have a lot more relevance to the people of that country, which I think is really interesting. So yep, but it's just interesting. But I'm interested to see how they react to some of the things that they see in there, because again, the younger generation here has a very different view on war and on the purpose of these battles and things, and looking at how propaganda has informed those decisions and, you know, the actions of the people in the population. I suppose it's interesting. It's a bit of a gloomy subject to discuss, but I think it's also something that's worth you know, keeping in mind, because times have moved on, haven't they, really? Try and get these eyes nice and even. I'm not entirely sure that they are, but what do you think? It looks almost like a beak, doesn't it? I'm going to go around that again with some more stitches, I think, trying to make it a little bit more nose-like, or rather than beak-like. But we shall see. But yeah, so I've got an awful lot of that going on. Also, on my shorts, I've been continuing with my pattern designing and things. However, I've decided to have a go at you know, hand drawing things again, so using pen and paper rather than using my iPad. It's been a while since I did anything like that. My fingers are a little bit rusty, but I'm enjoying it. And I think what I've started, I've only been doing it for a day or two now, but what I've started is already looking pretty good, I think. But yes, it's interesting. I kind of said on the video of me doing the drawing that I'm trying to see to make sure that I haven't got rusty, and I don't think I have. But it's quite funny because an awful lot of people watch those shorts on well, when I do my Amasiograph patterns, where it does all the symmetry for you and things like that, whereas for me, you know, I've had to use a protractor and pen and ruler and things. And some of the people who are very used to seeing me doing the Amasiograph patterns have looked and gone, well, hold on, I didn't think you knew how to do hand-drawn things. It's like, well, I was doing that before I bought an iPad, so, you know, it's not entirely out of the realms of fantasy, but, you know. But there we go. But I'm really enjoying that. I'm trying to do something a bit random with it. I'm sort of doing little bits that are symmetrical, little bits that are doodles, little bits that are hand-drawn. But I've got, again, no plan and no direction with it. So my aim is just to fill the space. And I'm just filling it with dits and dots and doodles. And, yeah, it's interesting. I'm still on the remainder of my last 2 days of my week off, but, you know, like I said earlier, it's not been as off as I'd hoped. I haven't caught up with things as much as I'd hoped, because obviously Spinks has been at home, and that means that any time I've had when they're home has been, oh, should we go out and do this, should we go out and do that, which is, you know, it's lovely to have them at home, but it does mean that my work is being put back a little bit. Is this going to make it look more or less like a big? We shall find out, shan't we? I'm also having a look at other bits and pieces of like conventions and fairs and things to have a look at. I'm not yet acquainted with all of the shows that I want to go to, but I've just seen recently that there's tickets available for a show called the Midland Wool Festival, which is just a few miles away from me, and I'm thinking I'd like to go and have a look at that, but we shall see. It's not often that I get to go to festivals and things, but you know, the few that I've been to I've really enjoyed. And yes, I still have to catch up with my wool spinning. I meant to do a lot more over the winter, but for various reasons I didn't. And so again, I have a lot of catching up to do. But I'm thinking of going to that one and having a look at, you know, the spinning and weaving equipment that they've got there, because again, I still do want to do more of that. Even if I've got no space to put a loom, I still want to have a loom so I can plan some weaving and some other bits and pieces, and also continue my exploration of spinning, because I never got much further than the two very lumpy and bumpy skeins of wool that I managed to finish. But you know, just got to keep going with it, got to find time for it and just get on with it. But yes, one day I'll have infinite time and infinite money, but at the moment I don't. But yes, anyway, so I'm just going to do a quick oops-a-daisy, stitch through there. Let's pull that back. I think that looks pretty good. Might do a little bit more stitching on that side over there, but that's looking pretty good to me. And then I can start on the lines as well. And maybe, just maybe, I'll be able to use my my palm thimble, because they are straight lines. We shall see. I keep promising that I'm going to use the palm thimble and then not, don't I? It's terrible of me, but you know, I'm still learning. Oops-a-daisy. There we go. Yeah, you can feel that's getting quite thick through there. And then the last one can go there. Yeah, I mean, if I do go to the Midland Wool Fest, I will take my camera with me and I'll bring you guys along, if that's okay with you. And maybe get myself a few little yummy fabricy, well, woolly treats, and get started on that as well. And yes, I still have to return to my crochet as well, because I haven't picked that up since last year when I had my brief lesson with my friend who showed me how to have a go at it, and I've completely forgotten the entire thing. So I definitely need to refresh myself on that, and I think I'll do that after I finish these two projects, because I mean, I've got my freehand project coming up that I want to do, and at the same time I can have a go at doing some crochet as well. I think that's fair enough. Alright then, let's have a look. So, how do you think that looks? I think that looks pretty good. Maybe one more stitch there, and then I can tie this off. And I'm almost at the end of my time anyway, so that's not too bad. So, just do a quick stitch to there, and then I'm going to tie it off on the back. So I'll be back in a second. So there we go. What do you think of that? I kind of like that. It's a bit squinky, but I still like it. And it's kind of clear what it is. And I was thinking maybe I should do some like grasses and things over here. This one seems to be standing on a little hill, so you can see the bottom there doesn't quite line up with the bottom here, but I can make a little hill there and put some grass on things on there, and I'm going to do some grass and things along the bottom as well. So that'll be fun. Right, so that was the last piece of this skein of white thread, but I've got another one just here in this packet. So excuse the pause for a second. This is a more traditional kind of Sashiko thread, and it comes in these little rolls of thing, but if you pull them out, they come out into a big loop, and then on one part of the loop you've got this little knot holding it together. So what I do is I hold that knot there, and then I put it out straight, so I've got the knot at one end and I've got the open end at the other end. And then I'm going to get my scissors. This is going to take a while because these are little snippy scissors, not big scissors, so just bear with me a second. And then just make sure that I've got all of them. Yeah, that's fine. And that gives me lots of pieces of thread of the same length. So then I can, what I used to do is I used to plait this up so it would be, wouldn't get knotted on itself. And I might do that after I've done this episode. But then you can grab a single strand at this end, and I've got the other end held in my hand, and pull it out straight without getting any knots in it. So there you go. That's my new thread there. And let's just get my thread put into the needle, or my needle threaded up, I was trying to say. I've got the words there. I'm also looking forward to taking Squinks to some of the art museums and things in London, because, or the galleries in London, because they've not been to any of these big places. They've been to like the local places like Wolverhampton, Birmingham and places like that. But it's going to be interesting to show them places like the Tate Modern, which is again one of my favourite places. We've got things like the National Gallery and the Tate Britain and all kinds of other places like that. They've also asked to go and see the British Museum. I think that's mostly because they want to laugh at the post-colonial empire, you know, empire of thievery, as they sometimes term it, because, you know, there's an awful lot of talk about the British Museum, how it's basically populated with all of the stuff that was looted from around the world. Right, I'm trying to use my palm thimble. I'm not doing it very well, but it's a start. There we go. And then pull that through. And this time I did do a knot on the end. I just wanted to get on with this today, so I'm not worrying too much about the knot on the end. And then pull it along. Now, if I pull that along too far, I'll just rub out this white line here. That's part of the reason why I folded it like this, so I don't rub off that white line. I'm doing my best, but yeah, I mean, I'm going to look forward to taking them to the National Gallery and Tate Britain and places like that. But the Tate Modern is one of my favourite museums in the world. It is a bit of a mad museum because you're never quite sure what you're going to find in there, because it is very much modern art, and it's everything from like the very early 20th century up until now. And some of the things are a little bit challenging, but they're all, you know, they're all very confrontational. They're very what's the word? They challenge you. They challenge you to think about, you know, the nature of art and the nature of the world. And in there, they've actually got some of the propaganda posters that Squinks has been talking about. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how they process it. And these posters, these Soviet Russia posters, in the light of the... Ow! I was into my hand. In the light of the situation that's in the Tate Modern. So yeah, be interesting for them to see that, I think. Anyway, so, and yes, I will be taking my camera along with me. Squints has already asked me to not film as we go around, but I want to film because I want to share what I see with you guys. And yeah, I think it's going to be fun. I hope it's going to be fun. If not, we'll have to go back again and try and make it fun the next time. Anyway, so I believe that's pretty much my half hour just there. I will do in one more line and then I will say tatty bye. So pull that along there, got the line here, and again I'm keep my finger behind so that I don't pull the thread all the way along, because you need a little bit of a loop on the back, and then on I go. But yeah, it's going to be fun. There's going to be a lot of walking, and I hope my knees can put up with it. I'm going to be taking my knee brace with me. It has been very, very warm over the last few days here in the UK and this whole area. But it's cooled down a little bit today, which is a little bit more pleasant. But yeah, it's going to be very warm in London, because it's London always tends to be a little bit more warm than the rest of the country anyway, just because there's so many buildings and it's a bit further south, and it's one of those things, isn't it? Cities are always a little bit warmer than outside, aren't they? But yes, and I always find it quite, well, it used to be quite dusty there, so maybe that'll be different this time, but I don't know. Right, so I was trying to make longer stitches at the top and then have them slightly shorter down at this end, because I want it to look a little bit like rain. So, and I have gone back to using my leather thimble, but I'll have another go with my palm thimble off camera as well. I've got to get used to it again, but doing lots of straight lines will almost definitely help with that. And on this bag, I don't think I mentioned this earlier, I'm going to do the whole thing using these lines, so trying to make it look a little bit like rain, because there are various scenes where the Totoro creatures in My Neighbour Totoro, where these characters come from, they get caught in the rain a few times, so it is a big part of their story. But whilst the bottoms of the line are going to look a little bit like rain, I'm going to make the top of the lines into a pattern. But yes, okay, so I'm going to call a halt on that there, and I'll just leave my needle hanging like that and say, what do we think of that so far? My lines aren't perfect, but I do like the way the face has turned out, and I do like how these two work together. I definitely do need to make a little hillock over here and do some grass at the bottom, but I'm not worrying about that too much. This area here that you can see that I've blocked out, that's where a zip is going to go, so the entire thing here is going to be these lines. But when I get to the end of that, I'm going to start doing a different pattern at the top, so using that as a base for other bits and pieces. So there's going to be lots of dense sort of stitching up here, and it's going to be a lot looser down here where it turns into rain. But we'll see how that goes, and I'll be continuing that next week, so be sure to tune into that next week to find out how it turned out. I'm not sure how far I'm going to get with this by the end of the video, so I'm definitely going to put a picture of him, but I may not get all the rain and things in place, but we'll see how we go. I may have to do a little stitch on there, because he's got a bit of a line there, but looks like he's a bit quizzical, I think. Anyway, so let me know what you think of that down in the comments, and also let me know what you think of how my white work is looking. What do you think I should have added? What kind of things do you think I should have a go at? And whilst you're down there, please remember to like and subscribe and all those lovely little things that help a tiny channel like mine to grow. And I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thank you very much again for watching, and Bye bye.